Good morning, everyone. It's about 10:30, so these guys have been here maybe an hour. And look at this. Maybe an hour. Looking good. Looking real good. So I think we know what's next. Get to put up all my reclaimed wood. Put in some siding. Good morning. As you can see, I'm standing in the shed office, and it is insulated. I'd say the guys came and it took them about an hour to do the whole thing. I opted for batted fiberglass insulation simply just for the cost. They were able to insulate the entire unit for what it would have cost me in materials to do it myself. So that was pretty incredible. The cost of spray foam insulation, even if I would have done that myself, was going to be substantially more than the $400 I paid to get this done. And then I would have to do it myself, so it would be my time. And if I paid the professionals to do the spray foam insulation, it was, I want to say it was closer to $2,000 for open cell, and that's just, that was way too much money. I'm not going to spend that. I'm not even sure the shed is worth that much at this point. So, no, that's like putting on a sweet set of wheels on a $500 car, and wheels cost like $3,000, right? Not going to happen. Next, I'd like to report that the automated sprinkler irrigation thingamajob that I hooked up last night worked wonderfully this morning. I woke to it irrigating the plants. That's wonderful. Now I can be rest assured when I travel that I can keep my plants hydrated appropriately. So I want to show you what I got going on today. Here's some wood. There's some wood, and I apologize for the here we go. Oh, look at this. I'm learning. So I don't normally film with this camera. And there's some more wood, and there's some more wood. Now these are the long boards, right? And that's a couple little bit shorter ones. And then in here are even like mostly just short boards. So I wanted to show you the tools at hand, or the tools I will need for the task of applying all the wood on the ceiling and the walls. First thing is I have a air compressor hooked up to my framing nailer. I think my finish nailer, or what sometimes is called a brad nailer, is in Fort Lauderdale at our second property. So I will make do with the framing nailer, and I will get into those details later. I have my skill saw, circular saw. I can't remember the exact terms. I think it's called a circular saw. Then I've got my miter saw. That'll help me make some nice square cuts, or if I have to make anything at an angle, which will happen, because I will have that type of angle. Let's see, let's get to a little bit better of a light. So I'll have that angle there to account for, and I'll need to be able to cut a nice angle as needed. And then of course that's angled, right? So the boards will be going that way. I'll need to cut those boards at a slant. I got a 4-foot level, 4-foot T-square. My box of framing nails. I got a speed square. All right, so that helps you mark off your boards real fast, and then cut them to length. Then I have this protractor style thing. This is used in your corners. So if I wanted to get the exact angle of what I need to cut my board at, right? Oh, and I just blocked my own light. So if I want to get this angle, I use this little piece here, right? So now it's hard to see, guys, but that's touching the board, the vertical board, and then the roof board. So now that is the angle that I would cut the board at, so I get the perfect little fit, right? So it just tells me, you know, is it 30 degrees, 40 degrees, what have you. And then out here I have a couple of sawhorses. So that's about it. What I'm going to do, I think my approach here is to start with the biggest boards first, right? The longest boards. To me that makes sense simply because consume as much space as possible with a single board, cut those to size, and then as you start to acquire and accumulate smaller boards, you can go and backfill the smaller spots with the smaller boards, right? So I've got this small board right here, right? It wouldn't make any sense to try and put this somewhere right now. I don't know where it would go, but it's real obvious to say, hey, I got a board that's the whole length of the shed. Well, I'll just go ahead and put that in. I am not going to be too picky. I don't want to overthink this. It's not made, I'm not doing this to make perfection. I'm doing this to make creativity and have fun and just roll with it. So here we go. Okay, so here is the longest board that I need to get up, and I just want to get this one out of the way. So there's my speed square, and basically it's got a lip on it, right? And let's see if I get this right. Hard to, I'm trying to focus, all this good stuff. So it's got, you know, it's squared off like that. So you just slide it into position. That edge stays nice and flat on your board, and then you bring it down. You bring it down to where your measurement needs to be. So I need to be at 185 3/8. So I have my tape measure here, and I'm marked off 185 3/8. Now I'm just going to get this out of the way. Alright. And you'll see I already drew a line right there, right? So there's my 185 3/8. But what you need to also understand is, where do you cut, right? So I measured 185 3/8 to basically this, you know, to the line itself. When you go to cut this with your saw, the saw blade has a width of its own, about 1/16 of an inch. And if I cut on this side of the line, now I'm not 185 3/8 anymore, I'm 185 5/16. Right? Is that the right math? I think so. So I have to cut on this side. So what you do, and I'm doing this lefty here, is you draw an arrow, right, on the side of the board that your blade's going to go. So I'm gonna, when I go to cut this, I'm making sure that my blade is on this side of that line. That way I get exactly 185 3/8. Of course, if my board's a little too long, I'll just come back and trim it down. But if it's too short, well then you know, you can't add back. All right, so that's how you use the speed square, and how you should mark your wood when you go to make your cuts. All right, first board is in. That was the longest board I had. Ran the whole length all the way down. So that's pretty cool. Now, like I said earlier, I only have my framing nailer, my air gun with me. And that's okay, you know, if you want your nails to show up. And I don't really care. I'm not too concerned about it. Right? These are big fat nails. So you're going to see the heads. You know, if I was using the framing nails, they'd be real tiny. You wouldn't see them. You know, that's not the end of the world. I'm not going to pause this whole task because I got to go get my framing nailer from Fort Lauderdale. I'll just forge ahead as is right now. Now, what I'm not going to do, however, is I'm not going to use these big fat nails at the ends of the wood. If I did that, I run the risk of the wood splitting, and that just wouldn't look attractive. Now that I'm not, that I don't want to have. And I'll have to use the framing nailer eventually anyways, and I will be bringing that up. So I'll get done what I can get done with not the framing nailer, the finish nailer. I have to use that eventually anyways. So I'll get done what I can get done with the framing nailer here, with the big fat nails. And then when I get the framing nailer up, I'll just go through and finish off the areas that need to be finished off. So not a big deal there. I stopped for a lunch break, and by the time lunch ended, clouds rolled in, and it's starting to sprinkle, so I had to hurry up, and I wanted to bring my big pieces of wood in to keep them dry. That way I don't have to let them dry off before I mount them. I don't want to put them up too wet, against the insulation. I would like them to be nice and dry. I don't know if that's an unfounded fear or not, but it's easy to play it safe, just bring my wood in. So hence, it's kind of blocking the progress I made, but this is what I got done. I'm really happy with it. It's just like a hodgepodge of wood, which is exactly what I was looking for. And one thing that happened, lucky mistake, was I needed a 44-inch board to go right here. And I had a 44-inch board. I didn't even need to cut it, which was incredible. And it sticks out much further than the rest. So I got myself like a little pseudo shelf up here. I could put something on, little dust collector type items, but pretty cool. Of course, then I got this shelf here. It goes all the way down. You can barely see it. Let me see if I can get you. There you go, right? So I'm really happy. I learned a few lessons about how to approach this when I'm using so many different styles of wood. So hopefully it'll pick up as I move forward. The pace will go a little faster as I move forward. One thing that's really nice is once I made my first cut in the corners over there, I had a template, and I could just continue to reuse that same piece of wood over and over and over to make my cuts. And I think, yeah, this is the one here. So if I'm lucky, there's my piece, right? So every time I need to make a cut on this angle, I just use this piece and just trace out the piece of wood to to get my angle. So for example, if this piece of wood here was going to go up next, right? So that piece of wood there, I put my template down, match up the corners, make sure it's flat along the bottom, then I just trace a pencil mark all the way up, and then I just cut that with my saw, and it'll just fit right into place. So that's really cool. No more guesswork on the angles there. So I'm gonna call it a day, I think, because it is starting to rain, and trying to work in here with these big pieces might be pretty cumbersome. The other thing I did to save myself some time is all my boards that were like less than 4 foot, I laid them down here and I got them from shortest to longest. So I take a measurement of a length of a board that I might need, to put on the wall somewhere, and then I can just kind of go, oh, there's my 32. I need more than that. Oh, there's my 36. No, I need shorter than that. And so then, like, right in the center of those would be, maybe the best length board. So that would save me a bit of time, rather than just grabbing a piece of wood, measuring it, grabbing a piece of wood, measuring it until you find the right one. So a little bit of organization there. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to call it a day, I think, here, and pick this up tomorrow when the rains subside.